Any Clean Water Action members here? Just, yeah? Thank you all for coming. Appreciate having you. And thanks, Representative Vitale, for holding this forum and for everyone to coming out and engaging in this conversation. So Clean Water Action it believes that natural gas drilling in the Marcellus Shale Formation is the most significant environmental issue that's hit this state, probably since coal came here. That's, how big it is. And this industry is unique in our state. Imagine, if you will, if, heaven forbid, a new coal plant were to be built here in Delaware County, right? And so they build a new coal plant up, it's just about ready to go. They go to the regulators and they're like, look, we're ready to turn the plant on, we flip the switch. And the regulator says, well, you're going to generate tons and tons of coal ash. Do you have a plan for what to do with that? And the coal plant says, no, I don't really have a plan yet. The regulator said, cool, that's fine. Turn it on, we'll figure it out later. That's effectively the situation we're in right now with natural gas drilling. Clean Water Action is on the record strongly approving of the new standards that DEP has put out for total dissolved solids. We think they should go further and cover some of the industrial compounds that's put in this water as well. But they're good standards, they're right. So, this gas has been there for millions of years now. Let's just hold off on new drilling until the standards go into place so we can protect everyone's water. I mean, one of the things folks have to remember is when they pump the water out of this ground, there's going to be hundreds of millions of gallons of water that's going to be disposed of somewhere, right? And the places it's probably going to go is either into the Susquehanna River, which flows down to the Chesapeake Bay, which everyone likes, and flows into Harrisburg and other large population centers, or the Delaware River, which you all drink out of, right? And so if we don't have a plan to make sure that there isn't polluted water going into those waterways, over the next year, it's just going to be unregulated water going in there, just diluted waters at the levels that sort of make sense at that location, which doesn't seem safe or right at all. So just, and for folks to know, so that's how it affects you. How it affects the people in the areas that actually see drilling happening, right? About a year ago, right after, you may have seen the stories about the woman whose personal water well exploded in Demet, Pennsylvania. Her name's Norma Fiorentino. January 1st of 2008, she came home to find that her water well had exploded. An 8-foot concrete slab had cracked in half because so much methane had built up under it that somehow it sparked or was pressure, I don't know, but it exploded, right? And there was as you may know, there's lots of natural gas drilling in Demet. And I think what happened next is indicative of how this industry has been operating in the state. It took 8 months before Cabot, the drilling operator there, was willing to accept at least some degree of responsibility for this and to start providing drinking water to folks in the area. Folks there believed they were getting sick from gas drilling water. They could see that there was methane coming out of their water supply. People were afraid to light matches in their house because they knew there was methane in their home. But because doing anything about people's water problems could be an admission of guilt for causing the problem, Cabot wouldn't do anything for 8 months until they were finally forced to. So I guess the point is, we just don't really believe that the track record so far of this industry is one that we can trust without watching very, very closely. Part of the problem is if someone believes they found a problem with their water supply once drillings come in, Pennsylvania's laws aren't great on this point. If the driller is within 1,000 feet of your water supply, then it's presumed to be their fault, but if it's any further than that, if it's 1,001 feet away, you have to prove that it was the drilling that screwed your water up. Well, how are you going to do that? Well, you have to have done really expensive baseline tests on your water supply to be able to say that what's in there now wasn't there before, okay? Well, if you're a low-income person, these are some of the most economically depressed parts of our state, you probably can't afford to pay $1,000 to test your water, right? So you've got to trust the drilling companies who do the baseline tests, who give thousands of dollars or millions of dollars a year to labs to pay for those baseline tests. And it's just not something that we believe you can have faith in. So one of the things which, I've been pushing for a while is some kind of independent third party to come in and do all the baseline testing needed. Nockamixon Township in Bucks County, which has a more shallow form of natural gas, raised a bunch of money for itself. They did all their own baseline tests. It cost them $35,000 to cover the community to do it. That's amazing that they did it. We need something else to cover that kind of thing across the rest of the state. But the folks there, that burden can't be put on them. Sure, once you get that first royalty check in, you could pay for testing, but it's too late, right? Because the drilling's already happened. So I just want to say, you know, we do applaud DP for the work that they're doing on wastewater standards. Thank you. I encourage folks to go to the Clean Water Action website. There's a place on there where you can register your support for them. You can, you know, modify your comments in whatever way you want. One of the things I just want to address really quickly here is just this fallacy that the chemicals that are used in wastewater are no different than the chemicals you find beneath your sink. I don't really understand sort of where that argument comes from. I don't know about the folks out there. I do occasionally feel guilty about it, use bleach in my home, but I don't drink it, right? And that's what we're talking about, is having industrial chemicals go into our wastewater, and right now there's no plan to monitor it. I'm just going to close with a thought from one of my favorite activists up in Dimock, Pennsylvania, Victoria Schweitzer. She's been in the New York Times, she's been all over, she's the key organizer in Dimock for trying to get folks protected there. Cabot got a really raw deal. The folks in Dimock got a really raw deal for Cabot. They were paid next to no money per acre. They have the lowest amount of royalties that they're getting on their land, and their neighbors have been making fun of them and saying, you know, why are you guys complaining so much? You're getting all this money, and the truth is they're not getting much, right? And so folks have said to Victoria, if you're so frustrated, why don't you just sell your house and leave? And Victoria's line on that is, what do you think I'm going to do? Put out an ad in the paper that says, beautiful new home, bring your own water. Thanks. Yeah.